welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. This is my hour. I'm never going to bed. The sky is still black, but begs to be red. I just put my book down, but it begs to be read. I'll not nod, I'll not nap, I'll never rest my head. Some days I feel I'm getting smaller and smaller, but some nights I feel I grow taller and taller. You're never nothing if you don't disappear.
What a fucking pretentious pile of twaddle that was.
I'm Harley Neville.
And I'm Guy Pigden.
That was The Streets.
The Streets, the fucking Streets.
That was The Streets.
The Streets, I should have known.
Open up with The Streets.
I should have known. I should have known.
From his song Everything Is Borrowed, that's a slightly abridged version. I improved his lyrics for him.
That was pretty bad.
Well, you might recall, immediately prior to the show, I was like, I don't have any lyrics.
Yep.
And these ones are not as good as I thought they were.
Right.
So that's where we're at. So that's The Streets. I stumbled upon him through Rao Reynolds, the lead singer of Enter Shikari, did a cover of one of his songs, and it made me go check out some of his other stuff.
Right. The Streets is the English guy that just talks shit for durations of song, who has no musical ability whatsoever.
I think what you mean is he is the guy who is about as talented as I am, except for managed to make it very, very commercially successful and get a long and awesome career out of it, and so is an inspiration.
I think it's one of those things where one guy can do a terrible thing, but he was the one guy that did it.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like, well, it's a piece of shit, but it's he's the one guy doing that.
But his song, they're quite catchy. They are catchy. It's not like they're not catchy.
They're catchy, but it is like this thing is like, well, son, you'll never achieve your dream of being a singer because everything you say is dog shit and you can't sing. And he goes, I do not accept that, sir.
Exactly, that's inspirational.
I do not accept that. I am going to become a successful musician and I'm going to show you. And he did.
And he did.
In spite of those shortcomings.
Such as not being able to sing.
or think of good lyrics.
I like his lyrics, actually. I quite like what he talks about.
But you do, even that.
He's the one that goes, big city life, you're trying to get by.
That's not him that sings that
No,
bit,
that's his song.
Yeah. But it's that a whole idea of stream of consciousness talking. But, if you listen to those most successful ones of my gosh, you're fit, but don't you know it, and all this.
Yeah.
If you listen, it's like, right, this is not a articulate, cerebral guy, showing insights into the human psyche with his lyrics here. This is a guy, saying very generic stuff that we all relate to its genericism. You know what I mean? We all relate to, you're like, oh yeah, she really knows that she's hot. I know girls like that. Hey, listen to the song. And you kind of get caught up in it, but he's not really. You've had deeper lyrics in the past.
Well, probably
you've had that's
what I liked about that one was that it said, "The sky begs to be read," and he's got a book which begs to be read.
I know.
I love that.
I was going to mention that you clearly picked that because there's two things.
Oh, that's why I picked it.
Being read in two different contexts.
There's no doubt about it. That's why I picked it.
Hit it home for you.
That is what I love.
There was quite a funny, because this is when The Streets was at their apex of popularity and I was over in London, and they basically they had a guy listening to the song and doing commentary over the song as the guy talked, and he was talking back to the guy, basically just shut up, put a brick over your head, you dumb git,
right?
And it was really funny,
right?
But it did kind of, look, one person can do something badly and still become really successful. Will you be that one person?
Well, maybe we'll be that
Or will
one
we be
people. With
that one
this is the
person?
worst podcast ever, and we're the ones that will make it successful.
We made the worst movie ever. Well, see, that's already been done.
It has.
Tommy, first with what's his name? Ed Wood, and then more contemporary Tommy Wiseau or whatever with The Room. He's that guy, so we can't be that person.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to do something well.
Also, we're too talented at making movies.
If we ever want to succeed, we actually have to do something well, unfortunately.
Speaking of making movies,
Yep.
exciting times for us at the moment.
Yep.
We're T-minus 4 days or so away from shooting our big scene for Older, big funeral scene. Potentially could turn into the biggest scene that we've shot. Could be even bigger than the wedding scene, which was previously the biggest scene in the whole movie. It's taken shape. I think it's looking pretty good. We've got a good location. We seem to have a good amount of interest online from people saying they're going to show up to be extras. All the cast and crew are available. It's all kind of coming together quite nicely. We do still need more extras though, so if you're listening to this and it's before Sunday the 8th of January, get your ass down to the Battersby Funeral Services, which is 1855 Great North Road, Avondale. But all of that information will be on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. I've already shared it there. So do get down and be in our movie because we need you.
We do. We really do. Especially if you're an older listener.
Yeah, we do need we need extras that are 50 plus because we realize that the character that's dying is a little older, and it's going to be weird if all the guests at his funeral are young,
young hot 20-somethings.
Yeah, or schlubby 30-somethings. And so yeah, that's going to be weird. So we realized we definitely need some more old people. And the good thing is that old people will all get their own shot. They'll all be featured because we'll use them more because we want to create the illusion that there's more old people than there is.
Yeah.
So
you see, old people, there's a use for you after all.
Yeah, at funerals. You can still be at funeral scenes. You've still got a career. Funeral dude.
Mourning funeral griever.
Yeah.
So we definitely need a few of those.
Slash corpse at funeral scene.
Or corpse, yeah. That's the other option for older actors. But yeah, look, and I will say it is a bit like organising it. I'm not really organising it. You're organising it.
Alongside my lovely assistant, Angie.
And I'm just saying, oh, we need this, we need that. And this is how we'll do this and that. And it has been positive to see from it was 2013 when we did the last sort of big shoot. And it's now 2016. And it seems to be easier.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of, like, getting people involved, getting the crew or resources that we need, people putting their hand up to say they'll help out in some capacity, in some vital capacity, than it was back then.
Yeah.
As if our influence has grown to the point, or our fan base has, or our notoriety, one of those things, has grown to a point where it can be beneficial to us as we try and make things.
Well, it definitely has. Definitely. Guaranteed. I've completely noticed it as well. Down on the front line, down in the trenches. I have noticed it a lot as well. And seeing as I was doing much the same thing 3 years ago, I can personally attest to the fact that it has been way more of a response this time round. And you can only really put it down to the fact that people are paying more attention to us now.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that nothing really has come out between 3 years ago and now that would really give us that. No. It's really just been Facebook yelling.
Although, no, not true though. The zombie film came out.
Oh, true. Yeah, of course it did. The biggest thing we've ever done came out.
The pinnacle of our...
Yeah, true. We shot it before it came out.
Far.
True. Well, there you go. That'll be it then.
That'll probably be it.
That'll be a big part of it. Yeah. I was going to say the Guy and Harley podcast.
Well, that's the pinnacle of our life so far. Obviously. I misspoke when I said it was that film that took us 5 years. It's this podcast that we do. So that has been really positive to see and refreshing, and it does seem to appear to be all coming together. Touch wood. I did just touch wood just then.
Yeah.
And I also will say that it seems like I've got this thing, the movie gods, right, are the movie gods smiling on you today? And sometimes they are, and sometimes you aren't. And it can be very hard to know, but like sometimes it seems that things seem to fall into place and everything works out, and you try to film something and you kind of get close to what you were hoping. And other times it seems like the movie gods have deemed this shoot not worthy, and so they have decided that everything is going to be battle, and everything is going to be incredibly difficult, and everything is going to go wrong, and every kind of thing is going to become more complicated than it should seem to be as you film or as you're preparing to film. And
then the product ends up not as good as you want it as well.
Yeah, and it's sort of, often like a combination of a bunch of different things. And so I feel like it seems to be, at least so far, touch wood, that the movie gods are smiling on us a little bit so far.
Amen.
Amen, movie gods, thank you. And please continue this, so thank you. It's a prayer to the movie gods on the podcast. So Christmas, New Year's.
Christmas, New Year's. So the last podcast was before Christmas.
Yeah.
How'd you go? Many presents?
Grim
on the present front.
Really grim.
Yeah.
Nothing. So my girlfriend Shani got me some wrestling tights.
Cool.
And
for the bedroom.
Kick pads.
For the bedroom.
Yeah,
long-term fantasy of hers.
Yeah, not well, I did
to be nailed by Alex the Kid.
Well, let's not forget about David Bowie a while back. I think that was a much bigger thrill.
Right.
For her.
Yeah.
As the Goblin King came calling. That was a way more of a highlight.
Right.
But they didn't even come. So they haven't arrived yet.
Right.
Now I'm going on holiday with my parents on the 16th or something like that for a week, and I think they're gonna give me some presents then, but they haven't given me anything. So I got on the day absolutely nothing. Zero.
Ouch.
And also, not only that, I listened to last Christmas podcast.
Yeah.
As I was traveling up to Pie
Santa's Big Red Sack.
Which is not what it was actually called.
It is on YouTube.
Oh, right. It's called Rebranding Christmas on the actual podcast episode, because you were bemoaning the state of commercialism and religious
meanings behind it all.
Undertones of it.
That doesn't really sound like me.
And so you had a big rant and a big spiel. It was a good episode.
Right.
About it. And so you were like, let's rebrand it, basically. My Christmas, definite low light. Also, on the day, we sort of we were like, oh, let's go out for a meal. And turns out everywhere on Christmas is closed.
Huh, funny that.
Which is weird. Now, I don't know if I've never been out on Christmas Day before. I kind of feel like it's a little bit different in Dunedin. There's a few more places open, like food places specifically. But either way, it was either go to a hotel and pay like $100 a head for some shitty Christmas roast, or kind of drive the streets aimlessly and stumble upon
poor planning is what that is. That's
it was
poor planning on your behalf.
Terrible planning.
Like everybody knows, you've got to go shopping the day before and buy up all your booze do all of that stuff.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. Hadn't bought any booze. Was dying for a beer.
Yep.
And then the place that we ultimately went to were like, we don't serve beer on Christmas Day, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was like, no,
because of Jesus.
So
Jesus, who loved wine, said you're not allowed to drink wine on his birthday.
Said specifically my birthday, wine is off the menu.
He loved wine so much that he turned water into wine. That's what an enthusiast he was of wine. But for some reason, humans interpreted that as
can't drink it.
Don't drink wine on his birthday.
Yeah,
stupid.
So all in all,
religion. The evils of religion.
Oh my God.
Harming me. Harming my options for drinking.
Yeah. It was actually a bit of and also I worked on Christmas night. So I did all that, didn't get my beer, went to somewhere that was okay, but not where I'd choose to go. Just really got nothing done and then had to go work.
Right.
For 12 hours.
Right.
So for me, Christmas, not great.
So.
What about yourself?
Well, on Christmas Eve, I went to a Brazilian party full of super babes. Super hot super babes from Brazil. That was how I saw in Christmas. That was Christmas Eve, because the Latinos, for whatever reason, they celebrate Jesus' birthday the day before his birthday. Yeah. And for some reason, they think that's normal.
Idiots.
Yeah, you idiots. And so it's weird because they open all their presents on Christmas Eve at night. So, like, it's fucking dumb. What if you get a bike? You're going to they open at midnight, right? They open their presents, like, late at night on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So you get a bike. You want to go play on it. You can't. You got to wait until the morning.
Cool video game.
Oh, I'm tired.
Got to sit there.
Yeah, way more sense to do it in the morning.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it was Jesus' birthday, not the day before Jesus' birthday. So it sorted out
Jesus
you Latinos.
was not born the day before Jesus was born.
So sorted out you Latinos. But it was a nice party. Otherwise, very good dinner as well.
Yeah.
But the problem was that because I went there on Christmas Eve, I forgot to go and buy all my booze and all that stuff and do all the supplies for Christmas Day. Luckily, I had stocked up on booze, but I previously...
Luckily, you're a raging alcoholic.
So it was all good. So I never go without. So it's all good. No, but I didn't organise any food or anything like that.
Yep.
And so we kind of fucked that up. But it was all good. In the end, we had a barbecue, got a friend around. Angie and I hung out. It was all right. And I got some clippers from Angie.
Present?
Yeah.
Some clippers?
Yeah. It's almost like she's trying to tell me something.
Subliminal message within that.
It's like she's trying to tell me something.
Here's some clippers. Oh, cool. I normally just go and get haircuts, honey. I ain't talking about your head.
Here's some clippers. Please go and shave your balls. Because I'm sick of flossing with your pubes, Harley. Frankly,
I'm sick of flossing with your pubes.
That was what the note said?
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So that's probably the name of the episode, Flossing with Your Pubes.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
That's all you got, clippers?
Yeah, and a book.
What was the book?
It's called Sapiens, and it's a history of humanity,
right?
From its inception through to now, and then he's got a sequel which is like the future,
right?
Like of the future of humanity. So give that first one a go.
See how humanity's doing now. If you don't like it, don't get the next book.
Exactly. Don't bother with the sequel.
Forget about the following book.
Well, because Angie's leaving, right? Angie's leaving on the 17th of January. This is terrible news for me. We've been together for 5 years.
Terrible news for your sex life too.
That too, and hers as well, I hope. and so she's leaving on the 17th of January, moving to LA for 6 months, and we're going to do a long distance relationship for 6 months, which neither of us are particularly thrilled about. No. But there is an end in sight.
Yeah.
So anyway, the reason why she bought me that book was so that she bought a copy for herself, and now we can both read it, and we'll have shit to talk about, via Skype and all that stuff.
You'll be able to have conversations.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's romantic.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Cool.
Now, there was not last episode, but the episode before, we got quite drunk.
Yeah. And
I think
some dumb shit.
And said some dumb shit. And now I think that there's a fine line. I think that our sober morning podcasts with the coffee are okay. I think our drunk ones. Can be okay too, and they all have their place, but the best ones are where we walk the line, 3 to 4 beers probably. Somewhere around there. 3 to 4 beers.
Not a whole
bottle of
whiskey.
Tennessee Fire from Scott.
Yeah.
So anyway, Nick Cezzardi, long-time listener and supporter, Patreon supporter, the man, he was a little upset about what I said about Paul Walker.
Right. I remember that. Yeah, you said some offensive stuff about him.
Well, because Paul Walker, obviously he died.
Yep.
He was the star of the Fast and Furious movies.
Yep.
And
you put up a tasteless meme.
I put up a tasteless meme the day that he died.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious 7, and it had a hearse.
Yeah.
And so he sent me a message. He said, I take offense to your thoughts on boy racer culture in the last episode of the podcast. I'll have you know that I'm a, quote, stupid boy racer. So obviously I, at some point, referred to them as stupid.
You said that the Fast and Furious franchise was
For dumb people.
glorifying boy racer culture as well.
Yeah. Well, and he also continues, and Fast and the Furious is easily the greatest movie franchise of all time. Rip Paul Walker.
Well, we may have to have a difference of opinion on that last bit.
I'm not sure if he was being sarcastic or not.
Yeah.
He might have been.
I think
hope
he probably was.
But he might not have been.
You never know.
Yeah, well, look, so anyway, I just want to clarify, Nick, that I don't actually take issue with car enthusiasts, which is what I think you are.
Yep.
I think you're a guy who enjoys vehicles and all the, putting them together and, driving them around and all of that stuff, and I driving them on a track and all that type of thing. And I think that's totally normal. I don't think this is a modern thing. I think that in Roman times, there would have been dudes with carts, their horse and carriage, who pimped it a little bit.
Yep.
It wouldn't have been impractical. They wouldn't have lowered it, but they would have. But they would have taken real pride in it. They would have made sure the axle never squeaked. They would have kept it well oiled and so on. And you just know that those are your ancestors.
How we've got from boy racers to you fucking talking about Romans again is really quite remarkable.
Well, I've just got a Romans theme that always kind of pops up throughout my life.
About the Romans.
I do love talking about the Romans. They were a very influential civilization. To be fair, they were a very powerful empire. But so anyway, so look, I'm not bemoaning that culture, this car culture. I'm not at all. I'm not. However, I am. Here's the thing. When Fast and the Furious came out, it can't be denied that there was a huge boom in the boy racer culture, right? And people suddenly became a lot more interested in it and all the cars and all that stuff. I'm sure. I guarantee if you looked up some stats, there would be some, peaks when these movies came out.
And a valley around Fast and the Furious 3 Tokyo Drift.
Probably. That was where I gave up.
Well, that's where all the other stars gave up.
Right.
But then came back for more money.
Right, yeah. To try and salvage it. So anyway, and that's all fine and that's all well and good. But the bit that I had a problem with, of course, is that he was blatantly glorifying the illegal street racing. And I'm sure that I'm not even kidding here, I'm sure that if you looked up statistics, if somebody actually did some research, you would see really clear peaks in deaths and stupid, road
racing.
deaths after every movie comes out. I guarantee it, because not everybody is a talented racer who can race on a track and really knows what they're doing. Most of them are 18-year-old fuckheads who just think they're in Fast and Furious and think they're awesome drivers, and then of course they kill people or they die. And so when it comes to Paul Walker, I do feel obviously bad that he died in a terrifying and horrible car crash.
And he wasn't driving either.
But I find it deliciously ironic that a man that glorified illegal street racing died in a fiery car crash. That's the bit for me.
Now, the thing about this whole conversation is I feel like we've just gone back to the exact thing you said last podcast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was just... But the bit I'm clarifying is not that I'm against car culture.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
I'm specifying it's not a blanket car culture thing. It's a do you do illegal street racing?
Right.
And if you do, well then, yeah, I'm
saying
not
that's
a fan.
bad.
I'm saying that's bad.
Now, is Nick from here or is he overseas based?
I think he's down in Christchurch.
Right.
Where I believe, I'm sorry, Nick. He's definitely a Kiwi. He's in New Zealand.
But we apologise if we lumped you in with these careless street races.
His next message will be like, I illegal street race all the time.
And I love it.
And
it's
I love
great.
it. I love it.
And you guys are
you shut your face,
Jacks.
Harley, you old man.
But yeah, so well, I'm glad that we've sorted it out. Do we need to apologise to anyone else for anything else we said?
No, I mean we could probably just give a general apology.
A general apology for anyone we offended.
That's that. And so, what about New Year's?
So New Year's was quite good, but again, kind of turned a bit, had a dark turn to it.
Yeah.
So it started off great. We like the day was great. So we sort of got up, did a few bits and pieces for Older, and then we headed to this beautiful beach in Russell, over on the ferry.
Because you road tripped up north somewhere.
Yeah, we're in Pihia. That's how it's pronounced, I've been told.
Right.
Not Pihia, as I ignorantly stated.
I thought it was Pahia.
And that was wrong as well.
Well, are you sure? Because a
Yes.
pa, right? No. You sure that
Yeah,
some
well, I talked to
whitey?
the-
You sure that some whitey up there wasn't like it's pie here? While they live there, and sure they say it pie here while they're there, but the word is spelt pa here, right? And a pa is like a house or something, or some sort of something in Māori, right?
From the impression that
It's some sort of building.
the people gave me there, it was Pihia.
That's how they say it, but I guarantee that's not how it was originally said.
Well, you got to take issue
That's
with
not how a Māori
with
would
the
say
with the chieftains and see what they give it to you with, Harley.
All right, I will.
So and that was good. The beach was beautiful. It was all great. And then we had a nice dinner. It was a really great meal. And then we sat down to watch the fireworks. But we kind of misjudged it a little bit because we'd had all these drinks at dinner and beforehand, so we were quite drunk and I didn't really want to drink anymore. But then between 10:30 and 12, when the fireworks started, we were just sitting waiting for the fireworks. And it was kind of like, this is actually a real long time to wait for a thing. Like if you're just sitting there waiting for a thing to happen, that's actually a long time. And like obviously what would have been better is like we'd just gone to get a cocktail somewhere. But of course, because I can't regulate my drinking, I was too drunk by that stage to really want another drink. So we just sat there and waited, got a little bit bored, but then the fireworks happened. They were amazing. But then something really strange happened after the fireworks. It's like, if you can imagine like a beach all along this waterfront, these beautiful fireworks going off, and families and kids and dogs, even dogs, yes, dogs, were watching the fireworks. There was a dog right next to us. Fucking kept barking.
Yeah, he's terrified.
Because he hated it. And she kept saying, like, it was funny, like, so this dog came next to us, and I was like, don't know if this is a good idea. Should we move along the beach? But I was like, we've kind of got the spot now. If we lose this spot, who knows how much further down the beach. And so, and then every single time a firework went off, the dog went crazy. And then every time afterwards, the owner was like, she loves it. She loves it. She loves the fireworks. She loves fireworks. And I was like, does she love fireworks? Or you have to take her out now and you love fireworks. And she hates fireworks and she's terrified. Yes, she was wagging her tail. Okay? But I still feel like it was very shocking to the dog. And that's why the dog was barking like crazy and excitedly wagging its tail, sure, but in some degree of distress. Not really loving it. So anyway, we had the barking dog next to us.
That wasn't how it went black, right? That's not how it took a dark turn.
No.
I was going to say, this is the old man episode of the podcast.
No, although someone did go, shut up, look up your dog. It's not right.
Yeah.
She's like, she loves it. She loves it.
Well, you have to be pretty fucking dumb, I reckon, to take your dog.
I think it's a bit
given
much.
given that it's a family place and there's so many people, like I love dogs and I would take Slade everywhere with me. But in that sort of environment, it's just probably more trouble than it's worth, isn't it?
Also,
I don't think Slade would have barked either.
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
Also, if I knew my dog was going to bark like crazy every time a firework went off, and I knew there was going to be, many people around me.
Whether he was barking with joy or fear, either way.
You'll be like, well, this is going to be super annoying to everyone else. Out of respect for them, I'm not going to be a prick and bring my dog.
Yeah.
She didn't think that way. But anyway, so the fireworks went off, and we were like, okay, there's quite a lot of people around, cool. Walked a little bit further down the road. Riot broke out.
Riot in Russell.
Riot in Pihia.
Right.
And basically, there was police everywhere. There was people getting, tackled down by police officers.
Yeah.
And it had gone from this beautiful family sort of environment to, a lawless post-apocalyptic landscape full of like groups of thugs and hoodlums on the corner of every street.
Oh, yeah.
Looking for trouble, and it was actually genuinely scary because all the cops were also preoccupied with this giant riot and arresting a bunch of people. So there were no cops anywhere else along.
Yeah.
And then just these groups of, what only can be described as thugs.
Man. Oh, man. This is the old man rant episode,
sort of lurking about and like, drinking illegally and just like generally up to no good.
All right.
But not like just completely flipped from.
Did you see any illegal street racing?
Well, that's the thing. The street was completely blocked up with the riot.
Right.
So there was like a queue of like 30 cars around this riot where all these people were getting arrested, and there was these fights breaking out and like people chasing people and stuff. And we were like, Jesus Christ. So anyway, we kept walking along, couldn't get a taxi because this is a tiny thing. We didn't organize it beforehand. And also, so we were kind of like, well, we'll just walk home. We've done the walk, we've done the drive. It's like about 3.5 Ks or something like that. It's not super far. So why don't we just have a pleasant walk home? And that seemed like a great idea until we started. But the thing was about that walk is that the pavement run out at a certain point, but worse still is that there were no lights along this road, but it was a highway. So we kind of and there was bush on either side. So we were kind of walking into pitch blackness with these occasional cars zooming past at 100k, walking along the side of the road on this horrible gravel. And like, honestly, because it was so dark that I had my phone light, and I was like, if my phone light runs out, we will be in real trouble because we won't be able to see where we're walking except when cars go past. So what are we going to walk like a couple of meters and then
just run whenever cars come past?
And also, this is really quite dangerous. A car could at any time collect us. A car could at any time pull over and murder us. Someone could leap from the bushes. And it just really was quite really a real scary walk home that completely sobered us up and was also, like Shani wasn't like dressed for, a big 40-minute walk. So she had blisters on her feet. She was freaking the fuck out because it was really scary. And I was just like, come on, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
We're almost there. Yeah. We're almost there.
Go team.
But in my head, I was also freaking out because I was like, fuck, if my phone dies or, this is exactly like, this is the start of a horror film right here. This is the full on start of a horror film. Where like some like crazies kind of pull over. Also, we just watched a movie where kind of this couple had been accosted on like a sort of a back road somewhere, and it was just really freaky and kind of just put a bit of a down buzz on the whole thing.
True,
but we made it. That's the main thing. We made it.
Good.
What about your New Year's?
No, nothing special. I went to a party.
Right.
I went to a party at Simon Ward's house from I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Star of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the other night, there was a rat in my room, and Angie tried to wake me up to get the rat. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with a rat?
Gonna speak rat to it?
Am I going to like jump up and shake my dick at it? Like, really? What? I was naked in bed. What was I going to do? How do you even catch a rat? With your hands?
Are you going to lure the rat in with your ball sack?
I'm going to lure
it to nibble on?
I'm going to lure the rat into the trap, right? The foreskin trap, okay? And there's cheese under the foreskin, and that's what lures the rat in. And then I drop my balls on it, killing it instantly. That was. I think that's what she wanted me to do.
Yeah.
But obviously, I just rolled over and went back to sleep.
You just went
exactly.
Fuck off.
She was like,
fuck off. Fuck off.
Pretty much.
I'm sleeping. Fuck off.
Now, I had a confrontation online the other day with somebody who we will call Kirsten.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So I've been advertising online looking for casting crew and bits and pieces for our pickups.
Yeah.
And I posted this, copy-pasted this one message which I had posted in a whole bunch of different filmmaking groups for New Zealand filmmakers.
Yeah.
And was one of them called the New Zealand Film Community. And it's not even one of the biggest pages or anything like that. It's just a page. And I posted in there and I said, "Hi, fellow filmmakers. I'm looking for. I'm Harley Neville. I make films under the name Pigville Productions with Guy Pigden. We shot I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, which came out last year. And I sort of tagged all the shit and all that. And now we're shooting our second film, Older the movie. It looks great, blah, blah, blah. Like, gave them the full spiel about how awesome we are.
Yeah. And
then said, so here's what I'm looking for. I need a sound operator. We can a sound recordist. We can pay $200 for that position. And we're also looking for a B cam operator. Unfortunately, we can't... Unfortunately, there's no room in the budget to pay you, and then it was like brackets because the budget is Guy and I's pocket money, something like that. But we will feed you and we will bathe you in compliments. Yep. Now, I got a whole bunch of applicants, and I've used all of them for different things, pretty much. And so it was a resounding success, and it was very, got lots of likes, or a reasonable amount of likes and all that stuff, right? But then this one person who's a local filmmaker, here in Auckland, decided to chime in and saying that you shouldn't, it's not, he quote, it's not fair to have, it's not, you shouldn't, if you can't pay everybody, you shouldn't be paying anybody. It's not fair. Everybody on set should be getting the same. It's immoral and unethical. Literally told me it was unethical to attempt to pay somebody, and then so I was like, okay, well, how are you
were like,
supposed to...
don't you dare talk to me about unethical. I don't eat at McDonald's anymore.
Yeah, I said no to an ad. No, not quite. But I sort of did. And so here she is. If you're going to pay the soundie a 10-hour rate for $200, why would the B-cam operator not have... Why would the B-cam operator have to work for no money at all? And I replied, well, because we don't need the B-cam operator as much. We just need the soundie. The soundie is crucial, and we don't have anybody we can call on. But the B-cam operator would be nice to have, but it's not crucial. We can still shoot without the B-cam operator. Then she chimes in, either all crew should be paid or not. It's simply not fair or ethical. I was like, well, that's ridiculous, right? Because if you have to pay every crew member, then how the hell are you going to ever shoot anything? Because you can't afford it. If you're paying everybody...
Just say you're paying everybody $200.
Fuck, say you're paying everybody fucking $50. It'd still be, it still would bring it up a lot.
Well, those shoots become, let's cut the shit here. This shoot is incredibly expensive for us.
Oh, it's cost us a lot of money.
And is likely to cost us over $1,000 for a day.
No, it's already cost us more because we had to pay for some flights and bits and pieces. So that, I paid for some flights, you paid for some flights. That's already knocking on $700.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like, we are not...
Like, it's going to be more than $2,000.
Oh, probably. And we're not rich guys. We don't have like... Do you have $1,000? Do I have $1,000?
I'm $3,000 in debt on my credit card.
And I extended my loan with BNZ to pay for this.
Yeah.
I don't just have my half of that sitting around. You don't have your half of that sitting around. So we are getting ourselves into a large amount of debt, and this is when we aren't paying everyone.
Yeah.
So if we were to pay everyone, we're going to get ourselves... We're going to spend $10,000 of our own money. Like, this is a great argument if the film commission are giving you $30,000 to make a short film, or $1 million to make a feature film. This is not a great argument if you're an independent filmmaker and you don't have you haven't raised any money for a Kickstarter. You're just trying to shoot for a day or a couple of days, and if we were to apply that philosophy, we would never make anything, ever.
So it doesn't make sense, right? Because she's essentially saying...
all or nothing.
All or nothing, okay? And obviously the answer is nothing. Right. So you're saying try and shoot something without paying anybody now. And somehow she thinks that is more moral than paying the people you can and using other people for free. So initially I responded cordially.
Cordially. Yeah. Cordial response
to her, because I thought she was the wife of somebody important in the industry. Yeah, and so I was like, well, I don't want to rock the boat, and so I was like, well, if we had to pay every crew member, we couldn't possibly create any content. But we're doing the best with the resources that we have, and at least we're creating paying work within the industry. Right? I thought that was a pretty fair, well-rounded response, She was like, well, yeah, you're only creating paid work for the industry for the people who are being paid, while other people continue on unpaid. Groan. Well, yes, you dumbass. Obviously, the people who are getting paid, and the people who are not getting paid are not. It's only good for the people that are getting paid. I get it. It's what's better. What's better? Some people get paid, or nobody at all gets paid. What's better for the industry? It's so dumb. And so it sort of continued on anyway. And she was like, I wouldn't ever ask anyone to work for free on any project of mine, and I was like, well, in that case, you mustn't make many projects, or you've got a never-ending barrel of money from which to draw to fund all these projects of yours, and good for you, but we don't have a never-ending barrel of money, which means that we've got to do what we can do, and so we create a lot of content, and we can't afford to pay everybody. It's it's one or the other, really. And so she said I was being childish. She said I was being churlish. And she said that I have not processed what she said. It simply is not fair to pay some crew and not other crew on the same project.
You've 100% processed what she said.
I've said it. I get what you're saying.
And responded to it.
I just wholeheartedly disagree with it.
And very articulately responded to what she said. It's always annoying, isn't it, when someone goes, no, you're not hearing what I'm saying. And you're like, I am responding exactly to what you're saying and making a counterpoint to what you are saying. I could not have made this counterpoint had you not said what you said. Crazy.
It doesn't make sense. Like, I'm like, look, the fact is that we create work and opportunities within the industry with our projects. We would like to create more paid opportunities for people in the future. And the only way to do that is to continue creating content and honing our craft, which is what we're doing. One day, if we're lucky, we'll start getting budgets that will allow us to pay everyone. Until then, this is the business model that works for us. I was being very reasonable. And then another dude jumps in, and I not on my side, apparently. And so... And he's on her side, but he basically, again, not really any good points. And he basically, his point was that he thought the advert was rude because it specifically alienated B-cam operators, or hurt the feelings of B-cam operators. So it sort of says like a soundie is more valuable than a B-cam operator, and that I shouldn't have put the prices in the ad. And I was like, it's a fucking ad. It's an ad. I'm saying this is what I need. This is how much I can pay. It's an ad. Otherwise, I'd be just, if I said I've got a position for a B-cam operator and a position for a soundie, I'd then have B-cam operators
going, how much money are you paying me?
And I go, none.
And they go, oh, well, you've wasted my time.
And my own time.
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense. And then his solution was, what you need to do is, what I would have done is I would have paid the soundie $100 and the B-cam operator $100. And it's like, motherfucker, how dense are you? Like you're not going to get a $200 soundie for $100, right? So you're going to end up with a subpar soundie. Yep. And then on top of that, we've established that earlier in the previous comments, we've established that
B-cam is not a crucial thing like the soundie is.
And on top of that, I've also established that nobody's really getting paid in this production. Earlier in the comments, I'd already said, look, this is not a big budget thing. Not many people on set are getting paid, right? So what we would end up, if I did 100 for the soundie and 100 for the B-cam, is we'd have a subpar soundie movie and a B cam operator getting paid $100 more than the DP.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense. I responded as such,
Yeah.
but they just couldn't really get it. And then by the end of it, they went back to that thing. They went back to the, well, I guess you're just not really processing what she's saying. No, I process it.
We've 100% processed it. I think they're not processing what you're saying, basically.
No, well, because what really bothered me was they never actually replied to
your
any
points.
of my points. So it was like they put their points. I just demolished all of their points articulately and politely.
You replied directly to their points,
and then they came back with, "Oh, well, you're not really processing it." But not like, this is what I mean, and this is what I actually mean. Like they just had zero retort to any of my points.
Well, look, that's the problem, isn't it? When you confront someone with something with their worldview, challenge their worldview, very few people actually choose to retort to it, like, to the point you make, and most people just immediately reject. Look, and I will say just a couple of other points with regards to that. Is that, low budget filmmaking is very much a labor of love for everyone involved. And a lot of the times, just from a realistic standpoint, you are not going to be able to afford to pay everyone or anyone, maybe. There are other ways you can reward people. For instance, having percentage points in the eventual profits.
Yeah,
right?
you own 2% of nothing.
Which is kind of like, just like, a lot of the time you don't expect to get that money back, but it's just a respect thing to say, like, hey, if this film is successful, and that's what we're all trying to do and all trying to work towards, you will, receive some of that money. But this is low budget filmmaking at its lowest budget. This is how low budget films are made, is not by paying everyone. And the thing is, there's a certain artistic merit, right? So for a lot of people, being on a film set for their vocation, whether it's paid or unpaid, is helpful. So for instance, an actor performs a great role. That's great for them to be in a great role, whether they're paid or not. It's better if they're paid, of course, but that's still great for them to be able to show themselves in a great role. That helps them. Same with a writer, director of photography, because there's a direct correlation between the sort of the creative output and how they can use that going forward. For someone like a soundie, it's a little bit different. You can't necessarily pitch that argument to them because they're like, I can hear people, so I'm doing my job. No one gives a shit about that. I'm not going to get more jobs based on the fact that people are like, you can hear people in your film, because that's what's expected. So, I'm doing my job. I'm completely invisible, and I'm not necessarily artistically enhancing this. So it may be a more commercial thing for certain crew members, such as a soundie.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Whereas, so you can't appeal to that side of them. So sometimes you do have to. And going by that logic of pay everyone or no one. So we go, okay, well, we can't pay everyone. That's out of the question. We'll pay no one. So we go along, we go, hey, we need to make this thing. We do all this organizing. We spend, 2-3 weeks of our life busting our ass to organize this thing. And we can't get a soundie. So by that logic, cancel the shoot.
Well, you either cancel the shoot or you use somebody who is not a soundie to hold the boom and do the job of a soundie, and expect them to somehow get audio as good as a professional.
Also, it's also completely ignoring the idea that you do bring in people to do those jobs so we need a B cam operator, right? Great. Well, that's not the same as our A cam operator. It's the extra shots. It's additional stuff. You're not going to be leaning on them in the same way that you're going to be leaning on your primary camera person. So we can maybe have someone that's less experienced do that, and they get to work on a film set with some experienced people. They get to learn from those people. They can get to see how the set is run, and that is good for them because they wouldn't necessarily get that job if they were being paid to do it, because someone getting paid would be like a very experienced B camera operator. And so, a lot of those kind of smaller roles that you can't afford to pay someone that's for perhaps a less experienced person, and to help them develop their skills so they can become a paid person on another film shoot.
Exactly. And I did see a comment as well. One of the comments was like, was like, oh, I believe that you should never work for free because it devalues what you do. And it's like, well, that's great, but how's the fucking air up there on that high horse that you're gallivanting around on? You fucking stuck-up idiot.
Yeah, rich cunt.
Like, it's so stupid. Like, you're essentially saying that you won't work on anything for free, and yet you want this industry which runs on people working for free to succeed. Like Taika Waititi, his very first movie, I'm sure he was not paying people. When he started out in the industry,
making little shorts with his friends.
Peter Jackson, when he started out, he wasn't paying people. He was just starting out. He was just doing it. We all do that.
When Peter Jackson was making Bad Taste on the weekends with his mates, he wasn't paying his mates. He was paying for the film stock to make the film.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't afford to pay his mates and all that stuff.
Oh, well, that's immoral and unethical.
So,
if the film stock's getting paid for, well, then the crew should get paid for too.
So cancel the Peter Jackson's career. Cancel Peter Jackson's career. It doesn't exist going by this logic.
It's fucking dumb. And then it's a bit of a hoity-toity thing that you only get from more experienced people, I guess,
But it's also not true in the sense that even that guy that made that comment, when he says, or he or she says, I never work for free, it devalues a thing. It's like, right, you're probably right. You don't now because you're very experienced and you're very good. But there was once upon a time when you were starting out and you weren't either of those things, and you did work for free.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to become that thing that you are now.
And even if you are not an actor and you are working behind the scenes on something, there's definitely something to be gained from networking. If you're trying to make your way up the ladder, it makes sense to come along and work on Older for free, so that in our third feature, if you do a good job on Older, that we might hire you for the third feature, which, if you think about it, is what happened with, like, for example, like with Nick Larson, who was he worked with us for many years, never being paid, for the passion of it, and paying for things himself.
Yep.
And then eventually, though, when Zombie Holocaust came along, he got the job as the art director.
Yeah, and he'd never been an art director.
He'd never been an art director
worked
before.
Underneath art directors.
Yeah,
he was sort of ready to be elevated to that job, and we gave him that opportunity purely because he'd worked with us before. We'd had this
done a great
relationship.
job. We had this existing relationship,
and we knew that he was good. We knew he would be good, and so he came to do that. And that's, I guess, an example of our system working.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, we have still spent thousands of dollars over the years on, this industry and, cast and crew and all of that stuff. We have actually spent a good amount of money injecting that into the industry.
The money that we would have used to put deposits on our respective houses at this stage.
Exactly.
And then some.
So what do the listeners think, though, anyway? Does Kirsten have a point? Does Kirsten have a point? Maybe we should not be paying some people and not others? Or, is she completely wrong? What are your thoughts? Let us know by going to facebook.com/GuyAndHarley and posting a comment, or just commenting below wherever it is that you're listening to this.
It also should stand to, like I guess, another point that I'd like to make is, like, I don't expect any of my crew to do anything more than I would do. So, I think there's almost a perception. It's like, here we sit, these rich guys making films, kind of dispensing money to ourselves. They're like, oh, I need my director's fee today. Bloody hell, can't get by without the old director's fee. The producer, skip a bit off the top for that. Thank you very much. But we don't have any money to pay any of our, our B-cam operator, of course. But we're much more important. So fuck that guy. Whereas actually, it's like, we are busting our ass. We are spending all the money that we have and then some to just make these things.
And while we're doing that, we are, as a byproduct of that, providing opportunities to people.
And we are doing absolutely the best we can. We're spending absolutely the most money we can. The only functional way to make movies for us in that capacity, until someone gives us funding. And of course, we're trying every single fucking funding round to get some money to be in that position where we can pay everyone. But until that happens, we really have only two choices, which is to make movies in this fashion or never really make movies.
Now, speaking of being broke and spending all our money making movies, I do have some good news. I got 2 donations into the PayPal account, 2 Christmas donations from Hardy Hundy listeners.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so that was from Scott and from Jeremy. I won't say last names for that one, but thank you so much, you guys, for just that. Basically, they just went along to the PayPal. I guess it's paypal.com, right? And you go along to PayPal, and all you need is my email address, which is harleyneville@hotmail.com, and you can make a donation right there. And all of the money that goes into our PayPal account is used exclusively for Pigville related expenses online and you know, that type of thing. The other day I used it to pay for No Caller ID to be submitted to a festival, which was great because that meant that it didn't come out of my money or Guy's personal money. It was awesome. It's like that's where the DVD sale money goes. It's all, a lot of that stuff all goes there. So if you guys want to donate to us, you can. It does really help. Every little penny helps. And all you need to do is go to PayPal and use my email address, harleyneville@hotmail.com, and you can make a donation there. And if you want, you can say what it's for. You can go, this is for a bottle of Fireball to drink on the show.
Or this is for those older pickups that Guy got the BNZ loan from.
Well, you can make a suggestion as to what it would be for.
I was actually quite alarmed that the bank decided to give me more money because they couldn't take into account my Uber earnings.
Yeah.
So I only work part-time at my other job and also get a little bit of extra money freelancing from 90 Seconds TV, where I do freelance camera work for. And I was like, oh, shit. Well, with half my income gone, I definitely could not pay off this loan that I'm asking for. But nope, they thought I could, well, so I've got that money.
They're not looking for people that can pay it back, though. That's bad business. They don't want someone that's going to pay it back quickly. They're like, oh, this guy's ripe. This guy's ripe. Well, he's going to be paying this over a 5-year plan.
Well, that's which I am doing
with all the interest.
With interest, baby.
And so they are like, oh yeah, this guy's perfect. This guy's ripe for the fucking riding.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're the dream customer.
That's why I walked on in and I said, yep. How much interest am I paying you over this 5 years?
Yeah.
So that's cool. Have you got anything else? I've got a couple of things. I've got one very important thing.
Yeah, well, I guess we better talk a little bit about domestic violence for a wee second.
Okay.
Because my mum's boyfriend pulled a knife on her and like pushed her over.
Decided to share this one, huh?
Yeah, well, I figured, because the thing is, Mum posted a status about it the other day.
Okay.
So it's public now.
It's a matter of public.
It's a matter of public now.
Facebook record.
So yeah, like my mum got like so she's been with this guy for 8 years, and he has beaten her a few times, and we have actually discussed it on the podcast as well briefly a long time back.
Right.
Well, I'm pretty sure we did because I was lamenting the fact that I didn't know what to do as an alpha male. You know, what am I meant to do? You know, because I had to go down and
be
see
civil.
them. That's right. I had to go down and be civil to this guy who at some point in the past had beaten my mum. You know, and so. She stayed with him for 8 years, and he went psycho for whatever reason. I don't know what they were fighting about. And it was just my mum and my 10-year-old sister there, and he went to the kitchen and got a knife, and he'd been pushing her around and all that. And then mum said to my sister, go call the cops. So she ran away, very good, and called the cops, and the cops said, go and hide in your room, shut the door, and so she did. And then she looked out the window and she could see my mum lying on the ground with this guy standing over her with a knife, and she didn't know if he was alive or dead, and it was all very sort of traumatic for her, and my mum as well said that she had never really felt that close to death before either.
Right, of course,
And so, I mean, I'm getting my little sister up. She's flying up tomorrow just to kind of hang out with me. But, what I sort of, the place I'm at, right, is what do I do? How can I support from way up here in Auckland? And I know that all the alpha males out there are listening and they're like, oh, fuck, if you touch my mum, I'll fucking stab the cunt. Fucking cut his fucking face off. But it's like when you're actually...
do we have that many of those alpha males listening to
I don't know. Probably not. I don't know if there's many like alpha males in the Hardy Hundy. There might be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so where it leaves me, right, is like when you're actually confronted with that, okay, so here's what happened. Now, what do? Do I jump on my motorbike, ride 20 hours or so down to Alexandra, ambush him, Well, I could probably just catch a plane. Quicker, more effective, probably cheaper.
Wouldn't be so tired when you're doing the ambushing either. You'd be exhausted and probably overpower you.
Probably. And then do I like ambush him, beat the crap out of him? And because here's the thing, right? Mum has to leave town because she lives in a small town.
Yep.
So, and now this guy, he gets to stay there. Meanwhile, the kids, their lives are uprooted. They're changing schools. They're changing cities. Mum's leaving town. She's had a job there. She's lived in that part of the world for ages. And she's got to leave town because there's this fucking idiot like running loose, and the police are involved, but he's not in jail. And so yeah, like if I was a more alpha type, or if these were more primitive times, I wouldn't be flying my sister up. I'd be going down there to beat the crap out of him and tell him to leave town. Because that's way easier, right? One man leaves town with a broken nose rather than a family leaving,
Yeah.
But of course, what do you do when you're actually confronted with it? Am I actually supposed to go down there now and assault somebody? Risk going to jail? What do you do? How do you escalate the situation? What's a man to do in this situation?
Well, nothing.
Nothing.
Basically, is just take.
Well, I do know where his mum lives. I'd go bash her. I could probably ambush her instead. That'd be way easier.
Threaten her with a knife.
Exactly. That would be way easier. Eye for an eye and all that.
But I think the only thing you can do is support your mum and support your sister and your brother, and be the best you can be for them in this tough time. Is really the most responsible, intelligent thing to do. Because at the end of the day, like this whole idea that you'd go down there and like sort them out, there's so many more repercussions to that that could be very traumatic for your mum or your sister if you actually did it. And then becomes like this murky, legal, not legal, who's gonna would he sort of take you to the police? You just don't know. And you're only muddying the waters of how your mum can extricate herself from the situation if you were to do that. Which ultimately what you want, even though it's not fair and it's completely wrong, the best thing to happen is that she can be far away from him forever and never have to worry about him again. Yes, he should be the one to leave. Yeah. And she should never have to be in a position where she has to...
Well, and the kids have to leave school. The kids have to change schools, That's pretty huge. Disruptive.
Or have to be scared. Like, she should never be in that position if she wanted to choose to live in that town. But unfortunately, this is that small town living, and it's perhaps a slight reflection of the ineffectual nature of... the lengths that can be gone to with the police when they're dealing with these types of situations, and the due process that they have to go through does not benefit the safety of the person that has been abused all the time, They can only do so much, and some of that stuff, especially in that kind of situation, is not going to be particularly effective. When everyone is like a stone's throw away, when everyone lives a stone's throw away from each other, no matter what, that person is always going to be around. So, it's a tricky one, but at the end of the day, you just got to...
Be the bigger man.
Be the bigger man and extend your hand out to say, hey, mum, I'm here for you. Hey, sis, I'm here for you. Whatever I can do to make your lives easier, that's what I'm going to do. And just sort of dream about
killing him.
Because also it's a little bit different, again, not that I would advocate this if you were in the same town, but it is a little bit different, even the fact that you would have to travel down there to do anything. Whereas, had it happened that night, she'd called you up, you'd walk around and go, listen, mate, this ain't on. But what happens? Do you get stabbed? Well, you just never fucking know.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways it could go.
Exactly.
There's a lot of ways it could go. One, I'm not as tough as I think I am. And the hardened criminal...
the hardened knife-wielding criminal
that I'm trying to ambush somehow gets the upper hand. Now, this guy has already gone to jail for violent crime. He went to jail for breaking his son-in-law's jaw of his previous relationship. Now, if you think about son-in-law, that's effectively me now. I'm the new, I'm the new son-in-law, right?
Yeah.
So he has fought a younger man, and he did win, presumably.
molested him.
No, to be honest though, I don't think he fought him. I think what happened was he assaulted him.
Yeah.
You know, he cheap shot assaulted him and then went to jail for it.
Yeah.
Because he's a total loser. And so yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. It's tough. I mean, obviously, what I am doing is the bigger man thing. I'm flying my sister up. She's going to come hang with me for a while. You know, helping mum move, all that stuff. But you know, it does really seem like in simpler times, you'd rally up the family, you'd go around there, and you'd run them out of town. You know, like that's how it gets sorted. You know, in a lot of communities, you know, the bad seed is removed.
Yeah.
Not the fucking apple.
But also, you know, an eye for an eye. And the whole world goes blind, Harley Neville.
Yeah.
And I do think that there is something to be said with, like, when you, like...
Fucking being a pacifist. I'll pacifist him.
If you sort of are brought down to the level of the same level as the criminal that you are sort of...
well, it definitely affect my hopes to move to LA.
Looking down on. If you know, like, if you lower yourself to that level, you know, sometimes in a way, you know, I'm not sure how much you achieve.
Yeah.
By, you know...
Well, if he leaves town and never sees her again,
you achieved a lot.
You've won. You've achieved a lot. Your family doesn't have to move. Everything's under control.
But generally speaking, you know, I'm not sure that would be the outcome.
Yeah.
I think it would get more messy. And is it retaliation versus retaliation?
And on top of that, you know, I mean, like, the guy is mentally ill. You know, and so it's you never know how a man might like that might respond. He might go, "Oh, I fear for my safety," and will leave town, or he might go, "I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to chop everybody up and then kill myself." You know, so you know you're right. You don't really know what's going to happen, and it can be a senseless escalation. So I am taking the high road, and trust me, if I was not taking the high road, I wouldn't have brought it up on the podcast because I'm not that stupid.
That's true.
I would have just gone down there and dealt to him.
You wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
But I guess it's probably something that is very important. Hopefully no one who is part of the Hardy Hundy is involved in a situation like this. But if you are in an abusive relationship, I think it's really important not to give second chances.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right.
I think it's really important that as soon as that happens, that's it. You have to leave, and of course, the thing that you don't want to do, I think in a lot of cases, is leave because you still really love and care about the person. This person is your whole world, but there's certain lines that are crossed that you know you can't be safe, and as much as you want to believe that they'll never do it again, which is what every single person will say to you in that situation, you are not safe, and you cannot believe that to be the case, and whether or not it is even true, that is still now gone too far, and that you should that is not forgivable, and you have to move on.
Well, that was the second time as well. I mean, like he had like beat her around a bit, but it's also the second time he had pulled a knife on her.
Yeah.
But the first time was less crazy, and my 10-year-old sister wasn't there.
Yep.
So it was she kind of like forgave it.
Yeah.
You go, he just pulled a knife on me. Whereas
no big deal.
whereas this time it was a lot more intense, and and my sister was there. So mum is out. But yeah, she shouldn't have given him that second chance. Although in my opinion, she shouldn't have given him the first chance.
That's
because he was a loser from day one.
Yeah,
it was not like it's not like, oh, this guy's such a catch though. It was like he was obviously a retard from the very beginning.
Yeah. So
sorry to drop an R-bomb. That's very un-PC. It's very un-PC. I'm trying to move away from the use of the R word,
right.
But I just every now and then I just can't help it.
But yeah, so I think that's the big lesson to take away from that is you just gotta, no matter how hard it is, you gotta exit as soon as some type of thing like that happens, because no matter what, that's not acceptable or good enough. But hopefully, new chapter for your mum and your sister, and everything will be a lot rosier.
Yeah,
going forward.
We'll see how we go. So you had a very important...
Probably not as important as that.
yes. So you had something very important, Guy?
Yeah, very important. Movie reviews. Moving right along. I saw some good movies and a good TV show. Have you seen these movies? Have you heard about them? But no, unfortunately, we have to...
We've run out of time.
We have to quickly cover this before we go. Unfortunately, very dark day, obviously, but even darker, because we have to open up Who's Dead this week.
Bill, what happened? Ted? We're dead, dude. No way. This way.
And a lot of people are dead this week. Really, a lot. A lot of people died over Christmas. It was really bad. First to go, George Michael. Singer-songwriter. Icon. Gay. Among other things. Got arrested for showing his penis to an undercover police officer at a urinal. Which kind of, I believe, let the cat out of the bag, or he may have announced it earlier. I'm not sure.
To be fair, though, if you were ever going to show your penis to anybody at any time, that is the most appropriate time to do it.
Yeah, you're right there.
You know, that has to be the most, apart from being at the doctor's.
Well, or someone asking you to.
Or a consensual sexual situation. But did I tell you the time that a dude showed me his dick at the urinal? It happened to me.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, he had an erection. He had an erection at the urinal.
Yeah, but wasn't that a gay bar?
It was a gay bar. So that makes it okay. No, it was a gay-friendly bar, guys.
Right. Well, that's
right. There too, all right?
To be honest, I think that, George Michael may have been at a gay-friendly bar when he did this.
Right.
Very similar situation to this guy that showed his dick to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
anyway,
that was George Michael that showed me his dick.
In fact, you were the undercover police officer.
No, that's
he was arrested.
I was his previous victim.
Oh, right. So anyway, he died. And I think the thing you think about George Michael now is that, he was in Wham before... which was like, if you look back at those videos,
so gay.
Yeah, so gay. But at the time, you're like, these just some fun-loving guys.
Yeah,
just shaking their butts. Like I shake my butt when I go on the dance floor. Pretty cool dudes.
Yeah.
But it's funny that they were throwing all that in there even back then, and everyone's just too fucking dumb. Apart from gay people who are like, hey, you guys know. Yeah. He's one of us, right? And everyone's like, get out of here. Not George woman-loving Michael.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
See you later. I'm going to marry him. But so he passed away very young, 54, I believe. And the thing you don't remember about George Michael is he's got a lot of hit songs, a lot of great songs. You kind of he's the soundtrack of movies in the 80s. So we'll play a little track from one of them. Although it was kind of weird because... one of the wrestlers in IPW comes out to a George Michael track, and he came out at the big event, and he had a guy playing George Michael, the saxophone part, live, which was pretty cool. That's the sax man.
Loose definition of the word cool, but okay.
So anyway, that happened a day later. George Michael dead. Now, that would be a pretty big Who's Dead This Week episode already, if just that had happened, He's a pretty, iconic, singer. But actually, that was just the tip of the iceberg of the horrible Titanic that was to come. And that was Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher.
Governor Tuck, I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
Beloved Princess Leia. To millions of Star Wars fans all over the world. Had a heart attack on a plane at 60. She was rushed, so the plane landed, she was taken to hospital, she was resuscitated, but then she died in hospital.
I don't know who you are or where you came from, but from now on, you do as I tell you, okay?
Now... give me a rough estimate.
Oh my god! I really think this is going in a wrong direction here.
Do you think
Yeah.
that you masturbated about Princess Leia, as you grew up?
Ballpark figure? Let's just say a lot.
It was a lot.
Let's just leave
Let's
it
just
at...
tastefully leave it at
Let's
a
just
lot.
leave it at... Definitely couldn't count it on my hands and toes.
feet.
Yeah. Let's just say probably to the amount that you would lose count.
Right. Okay. I suspect that is that. You know, I can tell you something. I can honestly say that I've never masturbated about Princess Leia.
Well,
I've never done that. That was just never a thing for me.
Slave Leia, come on, bro.
Slave Leia, I can see the allure, I guess.
Slave Leia, come on, bro.
I imagine my big greasy tongue slurping all over her, like that Jabba the Hutt thing. I can see it. I can see it. My big slobbery face.
Putting your big gut, pulling her into your giant gut.
My giant, stinky, flabby gut. Yeah, I can imagine it.
This was meant to be an endearing tribute, Harley.
Well, sorry, mate. Please continue.
So anyway, it's super sad because obviously she was still, really pretty young. And, obviously, I should quickly point out that apart from masturbating to her hundreds of times, she was a huge influence in other areas of my life as well.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder!
Who's scruffy looking?
Because she was definitely one of the first, heroines that I really saw in movies.
Is that how you say that word? I thought it was just heroine.
I think
heroine.
I think it's either or. Or maybe I'm just doing it wrong.
The listeners will let us know.
But, so she was one of the first people I was like, whoa, girls can be cool and kick ass in the same way that guys are portrayed on screen. And I will also 100% say that she was a huge influence on Susan, the cook, in I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. Because here is someone that Wesley, your character, goes in to save, and she ends up saving you.
What the hell are you doing?
Somebody has to save our skins. Into the garbage chute, flyboy!
And also, she's like, I don't really need saving. I kick ass a lot. With most of the things I do, I'm pretty awesome. And that was absolutely, a huge influence of Princess Leia and, her sort of no fucks given attitude and the idea that it's like, oh, you're saving me? I'm going to save myself, And, oh, you guys think you're doing me a favor? No, I'm the fucking princess. Respect, bitch. So I always, I think that she was a very important character just in film lore of really doing that in a time when a lot of the times females were not portrayed like that. They're just only portrayed as slave
Leia.
Exactly, in Return of the Jedi. Did they go a little bit backwards in her portrayal? Who knows? At the end of the day, she did choke the hell out of Jabba the Hutt until he died.
Yeah. Well,
she did save Han Solo later in the film. Spoiler alert, guys, for anyone who hasn't seen Return of the Jedi from fucking 20 years ago. 30 years ago. Exactly 30 years ago. I'm pretty sure it came out in 1983. 33 years ago. Oh my God. It's all going by so fast. Oh, Jesus. No, it might have been in 1984. But anyway, very close to when I was born, I'm pretty sure.
Come on, admit it. Sometimes you think I'm all right.
Occasionally, maybe. When you aren't acting like a scoundrel.
Scoundrel? Scoundrel? I like the sound of that.
Stop that.
Stop what?
Stop that. My hands are dirty.
My hands are dirty, too. What are you afraid of?
Afraid?
You're trembling.
I'm not trembling.
But it is really sad. And then also, we would be remiss not to mention her she had a whole other career as a writer and as a script doctor. And she actually did some script doctoring for one of your favorite films, Harley, Hook.
Well, I like Hook.
I know, because you sometimes make references to Hook.
Right. Yeah.
So she played quite a big part in punching up that dialogue.
Rufio.
Yep.
Rufio.
Bangarang. So anyway, and she did that for a number of years. She's also done several autobiographies about her life, because she also dealt with depression and drugs and all that sort of thing, and was apparently high most of the time of Empire Strikes Back. And she also wrote a film about like a semi-fictional version of her life called Postcards from the Edge, where her character was played by Meryl Streep. So you should also check that out. That's her sort of one feature film that she wrote. And it's really just fucking awful. And I really thought of all the ones that were going to die of that Star Wars generation. I mean, Kenny Baker obviously died earlier this year, but I certainly did not think it was going to be her. Kenny Baker played R2-D2. He was the guy in the R2-D2 robot suit. But he was 80. So there's a little bit of a difference there. So that was really very upsetting. We'll play a couple of clips from Star Wars, some classic Princess Leia-isms, which now leads into the third Who's Dead this week, which is Carrie Fisher's mother, Debbie Reynolds. Do you know who Debbie Reynolds is?
The hills are alive.
No. That's 100% wrong.
With the sound of music.
She was not in that film.
Oh, close.
But Debbie Reynolds, and again, it's very sad because...
Are you going to tell us who she is?
Oh, well, Debbie Reynolds is the star of most famously Singing in the Rain.
Oh, she's close, right?
It is close-ish. And that's probably what she's most famous for. She was in another bunch of musicals, acted in a lot of things through her lifetime. But that's that kind of iconic role, what she's remembered for. And she was kind of the last surviving of the leads of Singing in the Rain, and is amazing in it. And she does like these huge song and dance numbers. Again, we'll play a little clip from one of her things, but she died a day after her daughter died. And talk about a horrible way to fucking go. Overwhelmed with the grief of knowing that you've outlived your daughter. So you have to experience all of that, then you die. Just take her a couple of days earlier, at least she would have never had to worry about that. But she went through all that pain and was going through it, and she also passed away. So, and she is one of kind of the last links. Again, we're really running out of actors from the golden age of Hollywood, which is kind of like, we're talking about 40s, 50s. They're pretty much all passed away. The only one that's going strong is Kirk Douglas, who just had his 100th birthday. So Kirk, take my hat off to you, sir. But yeah, it was just a really sad series of events, and it's just a fucking bummer, dude.
So good morning, sunbeams will soon smile through. Good morning to you and you and you and you. Good morning, good morning. We've gabbed the whole night through. Good morning to you.
But we'll play some clips and rest in peace to those three greats who have left us too soon, and especially for Carrie Fisher, who influenced so many people with that portrayal and was that kick-ass heroine.
Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
And was, I hope that portrayal and that role goes on to influence, many more people. As kids get to watch those films and write cool characters.
I just don't know if many kids are watching Singing in the Rain from the 50s.
You might be right about that.
Yeah, I just don't know. And I don't know if they're being influenced by it that much.
No, but I'm talking about Star Wars.
Oh, right.
I'm talking about Princess Leia and Star Wars.
Right, yeah.
As for Debbie Reynolds, she was great. Obviously, she was 84, so it's not so sad.
Yeah.
But again, another amazing performance that can be revisited. And I would also quickly say that if you hate musicals, watch Singing in the Rain, because it's one of those things that, like, even if you really dislike musicals, the script is so sharp and witty and fast that it's really just a great film if it had no music in it.
Mate, I haven't even got around to watching Moulin Rouge yet.
Yeah,
so
Moulin Rouge is shit.
Is
That's a bad example of it, because that's the thing is, like, in these old Hollywood musicals, the leads had to do these amazing choreographed dance numbers and sing. Whereas nowadays, through the trickery of editing and such, they have to do fuck all dancing, and they sing a little bit, and auto-tune Bob's your fucking uncle. You know, it doesn't require the same talent and skill, but I honestly think if you watch Singing in the Rain, you would not hate it.
All right. Well, we'll see one day. But
I'll lend you my copy on DVD. It's done.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Done deal.
I'm good, mate.
Put it in your pocket.
So look, we will end on that downer note. So listeners, if you've got any opinions on any of the topics from today, please let us know in the comments. And we love hearing from you, and we love you your listener topics and all that stuff. So please do get involved. Facebook.com/GuyandHarley. Write us a review on iTunes. If you want to be in our second feature film, Older the Movie, this is your chance. Get down to Battersby Funeral Services in Avondale on Great North Road this Sunday, the 8th of January. We will definitely use you. We're going to be there from 8 a.m. The extras call time is 9 a.m. We will use you, so please do come on down. And if you are too far away to help us with that, then just go and share the trailer or something like that. You can find out more about Older at facebook.com/olderthemovie.
Thank you very much, everyone. I hope everyone's had a good Christmas and New Year's. Probably better than ours, I hope. And we'll see you next week.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.